In this video, I shall discuss the remaining part of the KDIGO guidelines for nephrotic syndrome given in 2020. First is the general principles of supportive treatment. Renal biopsy is indicated at onset if the age is more than 12 years of age and presence of renal failure not related to hypovolemia. In steroid-resistant nephrotic syndrome, whether primary or secondary, in patients with high index of suspicion for a different underlying pathology like macroscopic hematuria, extrarenal symptoms, and hypocomplementemia, etc., and in patients on calcineurin inhibitors, that is cyclosporin or tacrolimus, with prolonged duration or decreasing renal functions. Genetic testing is indicated if patient has steroid-resistant nephrotic syndrome in congenital and infantile forms and presence of syndromic features or family history of steroid-resistant nephrotic syndrome or focal segmental glomerulosclerosis. Vitamin D or calcium supplementation is not required if the patient has steroid-sensitive nephrotic syndrome with normal vitamin D levels, but it is required if the patient has frequently relapsing or steroid-dependent nephrotic syndrome or the patient has known vitamin D deficiency. A routine use of proton pump inhibitors or antacids is not recommended in absence of gastric symptoms or gastrotoxicity. We must also know about various steroid-sparing agents and principles of treatment with them. So the first line drugs, first is oral cyclophosphamide given in a dose of 2 mg per kg for 12 weeks, cumulative 168 mg per kg, to be started only after achieving remission with steroids first. This is very important. Repeat courses are not to be given and weekly complete blood counts are to be monitored to rule out leukopenia. And the second first line agent is levamisole. The dose is 2.5 mg per kg every alternate day, maximum 150 mg. Some children may benefit from low dose alternative steroids along with levamisole on days not taking levamisole. If a patient is on levamisole, one must monitor complete blood counts at least every 2 to 3 months, ALT AST every 3 to 6 months, and ANCA titers every 6 months. Continue therapy with levamisole for at least 12 months. If ANCA comes positive anytime in the between, then consider interrupting treatment with it. Coming on to alternative drugs, first is mycophenolate mofetil, starting dose 1200 mg per meter square per day in 2 divided doses, to be continued for at least 12 months since most children will relapse on stopping it. And the second is anti-CD20 drug rituximab in a dose of 375 mg per meter square for 1 to 4 doses, may be considered in children with steroid-sensitive nephrotic syndrome with continuing frequent relapses despite optimal combination of prednisolone and an oral steroid-sparing agent. One must check hepatitis B titers before starting, CD20 levels to be monitored during the therapy, and preferably check IgG levels before and after therapy. The third alternative is of calcineurin inhibitors, that is cyclosporin or tacrolimus. These should be continued again for at least 12 months since most children will relapse on stopping it, and monitor the trough levels of calcineurin inhibitors to limit renal toxicity, which is the most dreaded toxicity caused by them. First is cyclosporin, to be given in a dose of 4 to 5 mg per kg per day starting in 2 divided doses. It is preferable in patients at risk for diabetic complications since tacrolimus causes hyperglycemia. The target 12-hour trough levels in blood are 60 to 150 nanogram per ml, aiming at lowest dose required to maintain remission and avoid toxicity. The second drug is of course tacrolimus, starting dose 0.1 mg per meter square per day in 2 divided doses, preferred over cyclosporin because cyclosporin has a lot of cosmetic side effects. So again, the target 12-hour trough levels for tacrolimus are 5 to 10 nanogram per ml, and one should aim at the lowest dose required to maintain remission and to avoid toxicity. The main toxicities seen with calcineurin inhibitors are renal, but with cyclosporin along with renal, cosmetic side effects are also seen, and tacrolimus leads to a predisposition to diabetes and hyperglycemia along with renal toxicity. The Indian Pediatric Nephrology Association has also come up with management guidelines of steroid-resistant nephrotic syndrome in children, and it has been recently published in the Indian Pediatrics. So too has KDIGO. If anyone wants a video comparing and contrasting the two, then do let me know in comment section. else we'll move on to some other topic. Thank you.